Why are you here? You're here to outwork. You're here to outtrain. You're here to win.
Here with Chance Marsteller after a pretty big run at 2018 NCAAs. Chance, thanks for taking the time to weigh in with me today.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I wanted to go through the season with you a little bit. Just get your, how things were unfolded for you mentally coming into the championships. You had a undefeated regular season. How do you go through the season mentally? Like when you're on a run, is that what fuels your confidence, or is it just practice, or is it a mix of things?
Honestly, it was a long season, and I wrestled a lot of matches, so and I actually took pause down the scuffle.
Oh, the scuffle. That's it. That's right. You're right.
But really, you just kind of I try to take things week by week, especially in my life now with my son. Like, it's kind of a day-by-day thing. You never really know. You never knew it was going to hit you the next day. So really, just like preparation wise, every week was a little different, and you kind of take it day by day. I think towards the end there, I kind of fell off with the day by day thing and started looking at the bigger picture instead of keeping it small.
Are you talking about the EWLs, or you just talking about during the regular season?
Like coming to EWLs, I think I was more so focused on like the postseason nationals. I forgot to take it day by day a little bit. But when you're prepared, it's like I know there was like an 8-day time period where we wrestled 5 dual meets and had 5 weigh-ins in 8 days. And, like kind of preparing for something like that, it's you have something big like that coming up, like 5 weigh-ins, and but really you just take it day by day, and when you do it like that, like you don't really let things slip away from you, and when the next thing comes up, you're ready. So when you take it day by day, you're kind of ready every day, because you just kind of prepare yourself for anything.
I just want to go back and ask you, what's your relationship with weight cutting? And weight?
With weight cutting?
Yeah.
Coach Moore tells me I have the freestyle mentality weight cut. I lose a lot of weight practice, so and I sweat a lot. So I'll come in more over than he would definitely like me to, and so it all depends. Normally being within 15 pounds is good for me. Like 14 under is always real good for me. So
how far out from the weigh-in? 1 day? No.
No. 14 are coming that week, and then within 8, 2 days out.
Okay.
8, 9, 2 days out. When I'm more than 9, 2 days out, so things start to slip away.
Can you feel a difference in your performance?
There, those 3-day weigh-ins, I don't want to do that again next year. Not like that.
Not like that. You feel a difference in your performance when you're coming in too high?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, Coach Moore says it's a freestyle mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I feel good this night before weigh-ins, but, everything's changing worldwide, so I need to continue to get better at the 1 hour, 2 hour weigh-ins. I noticed when we weigh in a lot, though, and I was getting used to it. Like I said, there's 5 dual meets in 8 days. Like, that really wasn't that bad because I really put my foot down on it and decided to be tough on myself. When I do that, things for me are better, and I feel like I didn't do that as well this postseason as I could have.
What do you weigh right now?
Oh, only 180.
Only 180? Okay. All right. Getting back to the season, EWLs. You had a pretty dominating win over Chad Walsh in the duel. You met him at the finals of the EWL. You took the loss in a really low-scoring match, totally different match. How do you deal with that mentally going into the NCAAs, and where do you get your mental toughness from, bouncing back?
Well, first off, dealing with it real fast. It's you gotta have a short memory in wrestling. I'm sure you've heard people say that
Sure.
before, and you really do. I still, I've talked about before with Coach Smith, that told me something that took me a while to realize. You don't get too high on your highs, you don't get too low on your lows. I never understood that for a while. Like, I understand that for at least 2 years. And, as I understand that better and better, is like when you win a big match, like you enjoy the moment because you don't. Some not enjoy the moments. You enjoy the moment, but you don't live on it forever. And when you're down, you're sad. You understand it. You understand that you're pissed off. You understand what you have to do to get better. But again, you don't live on it. So you have to have a very short memory in wrestling. I had a really bad weekend, I'd say, at EBLs. Did my weight cut wrong, and it's no excuse. I lost the match, and I just knew regardless you come into the Nationals, you're going to have to beat some good guys to win the thing. So you got to beat good guys to play. You got to beat good guys to do anything in Nationals. So, after the loss, I was like, all right, well, it's time to go now. It doesn't really matter. Once you get to Nationals, everything's fair game. And my mental toughness, I don't know, it probably comes from just my life growing up. My parents were always pretty strict on me. Growing up with Cole a lot, he kind of ran his club of mental toughness. So did Coach Chris Bentley at Renegade Force. I just feel like I've also kind of taken the tough way, the hard way, when a lot of times the dramatic way, and that kind of is, I think, helps toughen you up.
I'm going to come back and ask you a little more about that later. Okay, so you're talking about the mental toughness. So you're going into one of the most loaded brackets at NCAAs in my, in recent memory. 65 was just a minefield. When you look at the bracket, or are you just thinking, I'm going to go, I mean, are you looking at it thinking, this is how my process through it, or is it just one match at a time, each focused on that match coming up, or how do you approach that?
Well, one match at a time, exactly. That's the way I feel you got to look at every big tournament, is one match at a time. I always remember my freshman year of high school, Mason Beckman's older brother, Lawrence Beckman, was my assistant coach. And I remember from the time we were at districts to the time we were at states, once I won my district tournament, he's like, all right, great, you're top 16 in the state now. He's like, I'm ranked number 1 all year or whatever. And, then we get to states and I win, my round of 16. He goes, great, you're top 12 in the state now. Win my semis. Great, you're top 6 in the state, or you get to the semis. All right, you're top 6 in the state now. Went to the finals. All right, you're top 2. Now it's time to go, right? And it was like it was kind of a joke, but really it was just that being real stringent on that one match at a time strategy. And after I lost to Martinez, I could have looked at it and sat there and like, dang, this is a long 4 matches to get a third place, right? Get the third, fourth place match.
Yeah.
You can't look at it like that. It's just like, all right, I got one match in front of me. Because then you win that one, all right, I got another match in front of me. And that's just how you have to take it. I think at anything, I remember talking to, just 2 days ago, to one of my youth wrestlers, to their dad. I'll be down at youth states coaching, and he's talking all about the quarterfinals, this, that. I'm like, hey, look, we got to win our first match, and the kid that you're talking about, he's got to win his first match. And so I tell my youth wrestlers to do the same thing. It's one match at a time.
Now, I'm just going to step back. You win your first match. Virouette knocks off Rogers. Had you peaked at that match, mentally?
No.
No.
I really didn't think anything of it. I mean, everybody wants the story. He wrestled the Okie State kid. I had a feeling at some point in time I'm going to wrestle an Okie State kid in college. I knew it was going to happen at some point in time. But no, like I said, it's one match at a time and anything can happen. I was like that, like I was telling that kid's dad, not only do I have to win for this to happen, but that kid has to win.
Totally.
So,
yep.
I remember doing an interview and they're like, Shannon Rogers lost. How do you feel about that? I was like, oh, he lost? I didn't know.
Got it. What was the feel wrestling Imar?
Honestly, disappointing. I gave up the first takedown and mentally just I took myself out of the match.
So that's what it looked like. Can you tell me what's that? I mean, was it discouragement, or you just? I mean, just tell me what that process was.
I just honestly, it's easy in college wrestling or at high level wrestling that once you get down on yourself to kind of just to have that same mentality for however long you decide to have it until you get rid of it. And it was one of those things that, my feet aren't moving, my legs hurt, they're sore, they're tired, the weight cut sucks. And it's just like, I was just letting negativities build up. And I kind of sat there and sat in my own shit the entire match. For lack of better words, like I wouldn't feel sorry for myself. He's a great competitor, and he's a great athlete, great wrestler. But I know I'm much better than when I wrestled that match.
Speaking of the mental toughness, so you lose that match, but I mean the resiliency. You go through the 2, the 6, and the 8 in the wrestlebacks, which is that's tough slogging.
Sorry.
What changed? Like, did you just after that match just flip the switch back on, or what's going through your brain?
I think it just like it hit me like reality. It's like, what do you have to lose now, dude? Like, you have nothing to lose now. I think I was wrestling, like, trying to hold on to something that I didn't have. And my coaches were just like, you need to get the hell out of here, get back to the hotel. I went back to the hotel, and, my fiance came over with my son, and I just sat there, and, like, I held him for, like, almost, like, an hour, just playing out with him, and he was in such a good mood. And I got back to the tournament, and I put on this like little song that my son and I that I put on, and like I'll play with him with.
What song is that?
It's just it's I Want to Rock, right? Just be like, because I'll move his hands and stuff with it, and it just I put it on just because it was like this is the stuff that's important, you know what I mean, and I just try to break my routine, like same song, same warm up, same this, same that. I try to break that like monotony and just do something different and just remind myself like, hey, like I'm here. I'm doing what I love to do, and the people that I love are here. So I guess that's kind of what that song was like doing for me, just like relax me. Yeah. Normally, I'm listening to like my rap music or whatever. I don't want to put on rock music, and so I put on this rock song, and it just kind of changed like the whole vibe.
Yeah.
And it just playing back in my head like he's happy, I'm happy, kind of thing. And it seemed to work.
So you start winning on the backside. Are you peeking ahead, or is it still just one match at a time, working towards All-American?
It's still absolutely just one match at a time. Like I said, that doesn't change. Even like when I said, I was wrestling, like I was holding on to something on the top side. Like it doesn't change. Because it's national tournament, anything can happen, man. You start thinking one way and plan for one thing to happen, and something goes awry, and your whole thought process just goes out the window. So.
Okay. Anything? What was the highlight personally from the championships for you?
I honestly think it was just getting through it.
Yeah.
This is my 4th year in college. I'm a redshirt junior. It's my first national tournament. I think it was honestly just getting through it, doing the process, learning the process. It had just been such a long time coming. Whether I won it or not, it doesn't matter. Like it was just like getting through that whole thing was an achievement in itself for me.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of just what I took from it. Like it was just like this barrier that was just there in my life, and it needed to go. So.
How young were you when you first thought of yourself wrestling in this tournament?
10 years old.
Yeah. If you had any advice to give yourself right now, looking back at you in high school, what would you say to yourself, if anything?
Hey, stay true to you, kind of thing. Like, I always think for a large portion of my life and still now today, like that I do things a lot differently than other people. It was when those differences started to become similarities with other people that I think my life changed for the worse. So I think I'll look back and say true to myself.
Yeah. What made you? So when you were leaving Oklahoma State, can you tell me, like, Lock Haven's clearly on the rise right now, the rise. What made you choose Lock Haven? I'm sure a lot of schools were interested. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It was really, Coach Moore and I were in contact, and I just saw what he did. DNF. Danny Neff was a real good friend of mine, training partner growing up.
Yep.
I heard Thomas was coming. We were all local kids together, and really, I just knew I needed to get close to home. I knew I was starting to spin out of control. I thought I had it under control when I got back. But for the most part, I knew I needed to be somewhere closer to home because things just aren't working farther away. So,
got it. Are you going to stay at the weight, or are you going to? What's your future for weight?
Yeah, I plan on coming back down 65.
Okay. Being a dad, you talked a little bit about coming back with your son during nationals. How has it changed your perspective of wrestling, if at all?
There's some days where it really helps me remember like how fun wrestling is and how it's not a job, which is great. On those days that I can separate those two. But that was the tough part this year, was like the separation. Everything in my life kind of started to bleed together a little bit, which makes things tough, But more than anything, I guess like it's shaped my life in the fact that like the way I look at my fiance, she does it all. Jen's amazing, and she I just like it just reminds me and makes me look back about how like without people like her, my mom, my dad, just my family and my coaches, like how none of this would be possible without them. Just like watching what they do for me, like seeing what she does for me every day reminds me of like just how grateful I am like for what everybody does do for me. Because like I couldn't be in school, I couldn't wrestle, I couldn't do all these things at once if I didn't have all the people I do have. So.
Something I wanted to go back about as a wrestler. You've always struck me as a pretty intense kid, but also relaxed. Do you ever drift when you're out on the mat? Like, thinking about something that has nothing to do with the match?
No, I really don't. I don't think I do. No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm every once in a while in a practice that happens to me, and I mean, Coach White or Coach Moore or Ron Perry, like they look at me like, dude, what's going on, man? Like, because normally when it's wrestling, it's wrestling. I said to somebody before, like I'm a pretty serious guy when it comes to wrestling. Like I really ever smile. It's just how I am, which I think is something I would like to continue to work on. I want to smile more when I wrestle. But like off the mat, I try to be goofy. I try to do like when I'm with my fiance, like it's all jokes. But no, like when I'm on the mat, like it's serious. I'm pretty in the moment.
If we're in the wrestling room at Lock Haven watching you wrestle for a week, what do we see? Are you having fun? Are you intense? Or is it a mix of things? Are you getting back points on Coach Moore?
You probably see a very routine, like a very rigid routine. Like just like something that doesn't change much. You look at my warm up and you're like, dude, do you ever change your warm up? Like you literally jog the same amount of laps. You do everything by the second, by the minute, the same way. Hey man, you should probably do something different. I think it would help. I think that's something that I've analyzed here at the end of the season that I want to change that for next year, or for tomorrow.
Got it. Talk about changing things up. Are you going to be competing this spring?
No. I'm going to take some time off, spend some time with the family. Um, just work camps, try to finish school.
Yeah. Where are you at academic?
But I just feel like ever since I got,
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said since I've been in trouble, I don't feel like I have much taken a break. I kind of like just been running 100 miles an hour, and I feel like if I slow it down for a little bit, I think it'd be more beneficial.
Yeah.
My body, to my family, to my season next year.
I don't know. I'm sorry about if you're hearing all those tings. My son is texting up somebody, and I don't know how to turn it off. But go.
It's all right. But what were you saying about school?
Where are you at academically? Like, are you an academic senior or a junior?
Junior. So I'll graduate next spring.
You will. Okay.
So 5 years. And like the semester I missed in college when I was back home, I made that up, and but I've been back on track. So yeah.
Where do you see yourself? Are you going to keep wrestling after college at this point, or is it wait and see?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, college wrestling's okay, but freestyle's where it's at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my love. That's my passion. My aspirations are world and Olympic teams. And so that's the goal. But after college, I really want my coaching career to take off too. So.
Okay, so pursuing senior level stuff, want to coach. How has your relationship with wrestling changed since you were a kid? Like, as a kid, it was fun for me, but then I started taking it more seriously. And how has it changed? How's it evolved for you?
It's evolved for me to the fact that wrestling, it's a great thing. To me as a kid, it was a sport. As I've gotten older, it's a lifestyle now, and it's changed in the fact of not only do I want to help myself, it's a lifestyle now, and it's about growing the sport as much as you can, and instilling, it's about instilling your sport into other people, not just like the kids I train, but into my fiance. Hey, this is lifestyle. This is the way we live. And into other people at your school. Hey, this is a tradition here. I would like you to understand it, follow along, because it's a fun experience when you understand this lifestyle. But more so kind of towards the youth, it's how it's changed. I just, I want to change as many people as I can for the better, and help as many people as I can reach all their goals, and also do that by reaching mine, and inspiring. So that's really how it's changed as I've gotten older. Just the words lifestyle.
Got it. Going out, just tell me a little bit about Lock Haven, the program, and building the program.
I think it all starts with Coach Moore. And I'm not just saying that because
he's right behind you.
not anymore. But I'm not just saying that because for besides the fact that I know Coach Moore works his ass off to get everything aligned the way he has, to give me an extra opportunity. But from every aspect, people have no idea what goes into Lock Haven wrestling. It's not like any other school. It's not like being at Okie State, Penn State. There's so many other functions of being a coach. I don't know how many days Coach Moore actually just gets to be a coach, rather than almost like an academic advisor, fundraising, scholarships, just meetings and just all the other stuff he does that I don't think people realize how much has to go into Lock Haven wrestling for us just to be able to compete on the Division I level. But and then secondly, it comes down to the team. The guys we bring in, the guys Coach Moore brings in, these are guys that want to work. And I think they understood work ethic a little bit before I came here. Since I've been here, and Ronnie Perry and I have kind of gotten together. I really do think we lead the way in work ethic, and we we give those other guys chances that when they look around to see what it's supposed to look like. Because I think some of the guys wanted to understand it and just didn't quite understand what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And now that look has evolved into action, for all of our starters, like you've seen them all develop in the past 2 years, into solid, good Division I athletes that are technically sound, that have work ethic, and you've seen that development. And now, hopefully, I think that we're at where we're at. I think we've built that base that kids are coming into a system now, and I think that's what we finally built, a system like the other big time schools have. Where you come in and you give yourself the opportunity to be ready to roll right away. Like somebody like our freshman 125, Lukey Warner. I think he had 20-some, maybe 24 wins this year.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good for a true freshman. That took second in Pennsylvania State at 120, coming in at 125. So I think that groundwork's been laid, and now it's a system. So
got it. I don't know, how much time do you have left?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. You don't have to answer this, or you can. Are you comfortable telling me why you changed from Penn State to Oklahoma State?
I gave an interview, in high school why I did it, and it's the same reason. I just felt like I didn't make my own decision at the time. I felt rushed. I mean, really, it was a rushed process. The recruiting process is pretty long, and I decided in early July, and I felt like I just didn't give myself the options. I didn't take any of my 5 visits, so I feel like I just really didn't explore my options, and I thought like that was a really good option, honestly, and that I thought it was going to be a good fit for me because I had trained under them before when I was on the Cadet World team, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, circumstances just didn't work out there, so.
I got it. Hey, last question. So during the recruiting process, a lot of kids talk about how stressful it is. It sounds like taking visits probably an important thing. Any other advice you would give to someone going through it?
Yeah, taking visits, obviously, that's something that's huge that somebody didn't do. And then, making sure you explore other than what they just show you, I think.
Yeah.
You're always going to see what you want to see while you're there. Hey, you're going to go on 5 visits, and all 5 are going to look great and the same. It's the things that you don't like probably that are going to separate it, to be honest. But I can't really, when kids come in for a visit in Lockhaven, like I give it to them straight. Hey, you're probably gonna like this, probably not gonna like this. Cause I want them to know what they're gonna expect to hear being my teammate, being a Lockhaven wrestler. Obviously, if I say something that they didn't like, and they don't come here because of that, well, it's probably best for them.
Right. Hey, Chance, thanks for the time. We'll be watching. Good luck next coming year. Congratulations on getting through the tournament this year and AAing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.